Hello, this is Pastor Lauren Richmond, East Denver Bible Baptist Church. Welcome to our broadcast, Lead Me to the Rock. We're talking about unfailing power for unlikely people. I want to read to you from John chapter 9. As Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. Disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. So God's working in this life of this very unlikely individual. It certainly would have been difficult at that time to get a good education, and yet he's here, and God says about him, the Lord Jesus Christ said, I must work the works of him that sent me while this day the night cometh when no man can work. And God is choosing to work in this man's life. He's choosing to do a miracle work. And so he heals this blind man of his blindness. And it doesn't end there. After he has been healed, people begin to question him, the Pharisees and so forth. And he gives them his answer and told them who it was. And they didn't want to believe him. And then others began to question it. And of course, it was a healing on the Sabbath day, what the Pharisees and their hypocrisy were opposed to. And so they went to his parents. His parents were ashamed and afraid because of the fact that they had been realized that they could be thrown out of the synagogue if they would acknowledge what actually happened. And so they said, we don't know what happened, but you can ask him. He is of age, and so find out for yourself. And they go back to him and they ask him his questions. He gives them the same answers, tells them what Jesus has done for him. They don't want to accept that. And so they say, well, they called that man that was born blind, said unto him, Give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, Whether it be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that where I was blind, now I see. He answered. Then said they to him again, What did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? He answered them, I have told you already, and you did not hear. Wherefore would you hear it again? Will you also be his disciples? Just amazing how God had given him this speech and this ability to discern what was going on and to have the answers to share with them that didn't want to receive the truth. Then they reviled him and said, Thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spake unto Moses, As for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. The man answered and said unto them, Well, herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, yet he hath opened mine eyes. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. Since the world began, was it heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind? If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. They answered and said unto him, Thou wast altogether born in sins, and dost thou teach us? And they cast him out. And then, of course, we know that Jesus comes to him and said, Dost thou believe in the Son of the God? And he said, Lord, who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Jesus says to him, Thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. What a wonderful blessing as God is working in our lives, just as he did in this man. God working in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure.